Welcome to our latest installment of Solutions for Success Education series. My name is Jonathan Hamilton, and I'm the president at Point Alliance. This is our April 2020 edition, The Rise of Remote Working and Microsoft Endpoint Manager. We're lucky enough to have John Zaria, the CEO of Point Alliance, with us today to go through this at a very high level. It is very topical that we're talking about the remote workforce, as many of you listening in may well be working from home as we speak. We're going to discuss how to simplify the management of the remote workforce, how to securely have remote workers accessing secure data within your environment, and the support for more than just Windows devices, including iOS, Android, and Mac OS. So without further ado, and as to how you achieve these IT efficiencies through the Microsoft Office 365 solutions and endpoint management, I will turn it over to John Zaria.
Thank you, Jonathan, for the introduction, and welcome everyone to our April edition of the Solution for Success. For the next 20-25 minutes, we go over the benefit and the features available within the Microsoft Endpoint Manager, show you around the application, and we'll be happy to answer any question you might have at the end of this webinar. Again, we just going to walk you through it. Just a little bit about Point Alliance. Point Alliance, award-winning Microsoft Gold certified partner with 8 Microsoft competencies. So we are very proud of that. We are 100% certified staff, that we really have a passion for Microsoft technologies. Again, we've been around for 17 years. We have served over 300 global companies. So, again, just to start with the introduction, you know, as we see as what's happening around the world these days, I know there more and more is need for people to work remotely, and this is something we have been working for many years with our clients to kind of create an environment. It really doesn't matter you are in an office working remotely in a hotel or at home. You'll be able to have your staff to do their functions without an interruption and with the ease of use. And within the Microsoft Endpoint Manager, which is part of the Microsoft Office 365 offering, just make this very easy. So we want to create the most productive Office 365 environment for workers, and meanwhile we are protecting the data, so we're not compromising the security of the data. So what is Microsoft Endpoint Managers? So Microsoft Endpoint Managers consists of the 2 products, System Center Configuration Manager, which is manage all your on-premises deployment, and Microsoft Intune, which is a cloud-based device management. So currently, the combination, they're managing over 200 million devices worldwide. And so again, has been around for a long time, and the people using many organizations. The part we're going to emphasize is the Microsoft Intune, which is a cloud device management part of it. So really what it does help, it does let you to deploy with the Windows 10 management without any compromising controls. So you can control all aspects of your Windows 10 through the Intune, and you can manage all your mobile devices. Again, when they talk mobile, doesn't really matter what it is. Could be a phone, could be a Surface device, could be a desktop, could be anything. And also you're protecting. Again, the key is that even though you're providing access to your workforce, you're not compromising anything. So again, there's lots of security built into Office 365, of course, which is also go across within the device management and like a conditional access. Where is the user coming from, location, the type of device, and so on. So you can put all those protection in place. Again, there's a lot involved with the endpoint device management, but we're going to concentrate mostly on the Windows today. And again, we'd be happy to provide a more detailed walkthrough of what is available and so on. And again, we only have a short amount of time today, so I just want to give you a good overview of what's happening. So again, we're gonna concentrate on the Windows devices today, and especially Autopilot. This is one of my favorite features, and especially within the Autopilot, within the last October, Microsoft released a new feature within that we're gonna get into it. So again, as Jonathan mentioned earlier, we are covering the device management covers Windows devices, Mac OS, iOS, and Android. So again, what does Autopilot does? Again, it's out of box and ready to go experience. Basically, is that it could be a touch-free deployment of the devices to the user. And again, people love that, because imagine a box arrived at your door, you get a brand new laptop, has not been touched or anything, you turn it on, you put in your credentials, and we're gonna go over these things, and your machine built based off your specification and based off the IT need and security of your organization. So as I mentioned, Microsoft has announced new features within the Autopilot, which is called white glove deployment. Basically, is zero touch by the IT. All the things happen in the background, and again, it has become very instrumental, especially at current time with the people working from home, and you are not going to be able. So what you can do, you can go online and buy a devices, Surface devices for your users, or any device, the Windows 10 devices, which running Windows 10 Pro. We're going to go through that shortly. Deliver it to the home, they turn it on, and device will get set up. So again, cannot get any better than that. So this is just a little diagram to give you a better idea of what's happening that we were talking about. So in this diagram, you can see we have the hardware vendor, and again, every device has a unique ID. So the hash key, we call it. When you buy the devices from the vendor, you can request the hash keys from them separately. So you upload the hash key to the Windows Autopilot. Your IT team does all the legwork up front. So again, how to configure all those things, how to set up, what kind of software, based off your department, what you should get, and all those things. And again, when the employee get the device unbox it, based off the hash key of the device, based off all the requirement that your IT has set up, they will receive the proper provisioning to their machine. Right. So of course, there's a few requirements with this thing, and that with Windows Autopilot white glove would work. You need to have a Windows 10 version 1903, which is again, anything past October release will work. You need to have a subscription to Intune. So if you have a Microsoft 365 Business E3 or E5, or you have an Office 365 E3, E5, or a subscription to Intune, you can use these services. And also, the device needs to be supported TPM 2.0. Again, I would say all the devices has built over the last 3 or 4 years, they do all support the TPM 2.0, or the hardware is capable, so you can do this. Again, the Autopilot with a white glove, we can also apply it to the existing machine. So you can do a refresh on the existing machine and run this thing, and to kind of go through process much faster than the traditional way of deploying devices. So just gonna go into the app and give you a tour of this thing. So I'm gonna just close this 1 second, and I'm gonna go to my device management, and we're gonna log in. All right, so this is the main interface when you come into the Microsoft Endpoint Manager Admin Center, and as part of your Office 365 admin portal. You can see right off the bat, you get some statuses that if your account is active, is healthy, your connectors status are healthy, device compliance and so on, they're all checked, they're all good. Again, as I mentioned, we're going to concentrate on the Windows devices today. But you can see when you go to devices, you have all your, you can go by the platform, by Windows, iOS, Mac OS, and Android. And again, all those things are very comprehensive what you can do. And pretty much any configuration that you can think of that can happen to your Windows machine, you can set them up through the cloud and get pushed to devices in matter of the minutes to those things. So really make the whole device management very easy for the IT team. So we're going to go with in this case, we go with the Windows platform for the purpose of today's meeting. Again, with the Windows platform, you have different things. You have your configuration profile that for email, endpoint protection, what restriction it is. You can run PowerShells. Let's just say, for example, you want to have a background image on your desktop and you're pushing this to your company. You can do that through PowerShell. Again, with the Windows enrollment, that's a part of the white glove. With the automatic enrollment and Windows Hello, you can enable all those features again from here. Enrollment status page. So as the device goes through the provisioning, the user knows what's happening. And then you got your deployment profile. So that's how you will set up what you have. So again, we're just going to do a demo for you today. And you just give it a name. So we're going to call it demo. And then go next here. And this is a part you will set up all the things you need to do. So again, user driven, you can make it if it's in your environment, you want to be hybrid Azure AD. That means you join your domain as the devices get provision, which is very useful for organization that they have on-premises group policy that they want to also, they don't want to lose those and they want to be applied to the machine. So you use a combination of the group policy that you have in place and the new policies you set up in the Intune. So again, that really help the IT team in most cases. They don't have to go and reinvent all those policies. They can use them in conjunction with each other. Again, you can hide things as the user go through, like a licensing, privacy setting, and so on. Account type, you want it by default be the admin or standard. And this is the part that you want to enable, right? So white glove. So this goes through the process. You can set up what is the default language or leave it on and so on and go through this. So again, it's very comprehensive what you can do. You set up all those things, you assign it. And also, we will not save this one. We have a similar one in place. Then you have your devices. Basically, you build your devices here. Again, your manufacturer will provide you with the hash key of your devices you bought, or you can manually generate those hash key from each device. And you go to import. You import the files here, and they get added. So basically, what you do, you sending the hash keys to the Microsoft Cloud. So when the user connect within Microsoft Cloud, Microsoft associate that hash key with your organization and already know where that device belongs to. And that's how the connection come together. And that's very important, that the device as soon as goes on, connect to internet, you put in your username and password, already know that even before you put your username and password, already know this device belongs to your organization based off the hash key you have pushed to the cloud there. The other thing, of course, you can do within the endpoint management is the app, right? So the apps are very important. Again, we go by the platform, so you can have as many apps you want. The other great thing you can do, again, let's just say we're gonna click on the add here, and let's just say you want to push Office 365 suite, and this works hand in hand with the licensing you have for the user. So that's another great thing about this thing. Use that feature, you can go select here, just to give a name and so on, and the productivity. We're just going to go next on this page, and you can even select what you want to push to each user. And again, for each department, you can select different profile and assign to the base of the department you are, base of the group, and so on. So let's just say this group doesn't need access to access. They just need Excel or Outlook or Teams or so on. So you can really customize this thing, what's happening. And again, this works in conjunction with your licenses you have already. The system knows what license you have, what app is available to you, and that's why you get presented with these options. So very easy, you can do that. In most cases, you want to do it for the 64-bit, and you can also select update channel. And this is very important. You know, in most cases, when organization will image the devices, the device become very obsolete and outdated in matter of the months. And again, it's very important these days that we make sure our devices running the latest software and updates to avoid any intrusion to your system through the loopholes that the hackers will find. So again, you can select that one that happen semi-annually and what you want. So you can go from there, remove the old version to install. You really can get very specific with this. Again, just recently, the Microsoft Edge was the new Edge Chromium was released. You want to push it to user. Very simple. You select it from here, and based on the category, you go next. You can even decide what version to do. So you can push a beta version to certain people. Let's just say you want to have the IT team works on a beta version before go live, so they get a better understanding of what's happening. So you can select what version to send to which group. And on the assignment page, that's where you're selecting those teams to get this. Very comprehensive. The other thing, of course, you can do, you can upload any MSI files you have, or just go to Windows Store. In this case, I show you, it's very easy to go to the Windows Store and select the apps that's available. There's hundreds of apps available on the Windows Store. So I'm going to go to Tenant Administration and go to Windows Store here. So I'm going to open our store. Okay, so we're just going to log in. So from the store, we're going to browse through and see what we want to install. Let's just install this new Office app, which I find it very handy. What it does, it really bring everything in one place with all the software available to you and also all the documents you have open and so on. So I'm going to get this app. So it has been added. And if I go to the Point Alliance apps, we can add the collection here. You can see that. So we add that one. And that's done. And then what we need to do now, we're just gonna sync this. Again, in more normal cases, you don't have to because this sync in the background by itself, but we're gonna force a sync. And if we go to the apps shortly here on the left side and look at our by platform, and that will show up shortly here that we have downloaded. Again, it's very easy to do. Then once you get the app, you can assign it to the appropriate people and users and those things. You can make the apps to be mandatory to be installed on the device, or you can have the app be available in their store, so you can download it. So you've done it on their behalf. And there's some certain apps that are paid apps. Not everything is free. So with the paid apps, you can buy it on the behalf. So when they install on the device, they don't have to have that. I can see the Windows one just showed up here. We can go to property of this thing and we can edit it that who should have it and assignment and say, okay, this is for all users and available for, you can see who should be available for all or be installed to all and so on. So again, as I mentioned, this is very comprehensive with the things you can do. Once we do all those things and we import our hash key into the device for the user, we will go back to this page. So what's happening when you start a brand new Windows machine? First thing I'm going to ask you, go to the language section. So basically what they have done, they added a hidden key there. So you will be pushing Windows key 5 times. Once you push the Windows key 5 times, you get to this screen here. And what you see is called Windows Autopilot provisioning. Once you do that, it recognizes your organization after the next page for this. And it's you know what organization is it, which profile to use. Again, you can have multiple profiles and assign each device to certain profile. So it goes there. You can even assign a user to that if you want to. In some cases, IT might receive hundreds of the new machines. They don't know where the machine gonna go. So you don't necessarily need to assign the machine to a user, but if you could if you want to. So again, what we did here, brand new machine, turn it on, go to the configuration page before even right after the machine start on the language page. Once it recognizes the machine, you get a screen, it's the blue screen, and then the machine gonna go through the setup, right? So it's gonna go to the device preparation, device setup as account setup. That get all completed. Once that get completed, you get to this page. So again, it would take about probably 9 to 10 minutes for this to happen. Depends on the configuration and how much software you push into a device, and you just can steal this thing now. So again, if this was done by the user, they seal it and turn it on and goes, or if this was done by IT team, let's just say they have hundreds of devices, they prepare all these devices to be handed to the user, they seal it and they hand it to the user in the organization, or they ship it to them, and they go from there. Right. And again, why Microsoft Endpoint Manager? Based off our experience, we've working with this for the last many years with this thing. Users love this experience because it's easy to do without interruption. They get the devices and they love that ease of use. IT people love this because they don't have to do the traditional ways of doing in the past days with the image in it. The image used to be based off the hardware. When you change your hardware, then you need to build a new image. It was hard to update those things. They really get to, instead to worry about the type of the machine, the IT role is shifting to make sure your environment is controlled through the portals and that is provided through the endpoint manager, so that they can see, okay, who has what version. They can go to the event, find out how much free space is on every device and what kind of memory. So they have an inventory of everything. They know if the device is in a compliance or not. Again, all from one portal without even visiting the user at all. So that brings us to the end of our presentation. We have a few more minutes here. We'll be happy to answer any question you might have. You can post your question on the live event QA on the right-hand side of your page if you have any question. Also, what we have here, we can